it's such an odd time to be releasing a movie, especially with like a global rollout where every country has different standards or whatever. But this movie's doing really, really well everywhere it's come out. Like, what lessons can the industry learn from this movie's success, do you think?
I think that going to the cinema is a huge part of movies and always will be. But I think the fact that we have these kind of like, you know, streaming sites and ability to watch stuff from home, it's a great addition to what we already have. And the fact that nowadays people are getting better TVs and speaker systems, you can really have a great environment to watch a film in. And I like the ability to pause and talk over a movie, go get a snack, go to the bathroom. So for me, I think to be able to watch it not just in the cinema, but have a great experience at home is really important too.
I have about 4 hours of a lecture from what I think this industry could learn from these movies, but I think the quickest thing is to adapt. I think the reason why a lot of big studios are failing or not doing what they thought they were doing or what they have been doing for 20 years is because they're not adapting. I mean, the amount of conversations that we've had about releasing it all over the world, which has been pretty intense. And there's some countries that won't even have the movie until next year because of restrictions. But I would just say they need to learn to adapt and stop only caring about the bottom line and realize that entertainment is here for the masses. It's not only a paycheck. So I wish that they would adapt more. And if you do it right, like with this, it has turned into a paycheck for them. So I just wish there was a little more flexibility and a little less. Like, I think if I hear one more time, well, we've always done it this way. And it's like, well, there's never been a global pandemic during your lifetime. So you actually haven't. So I would say to learn to adapt and to be more open-minded because the industry is changing all around, even without COVID, just for other reasons as well.
This movie is also, you know, I think wrongfully surprising people because they don't realize how strong a market young women are. Like, why do you think that young women, I don't know, are consistently so ignored or such a maligned market?
I think the film industry is changing and has changed dramatically. I think that there's an interesting cultural thing where like we like to shame young women. We like to shame their music and their books and their stupid magazines and their clothes and all this stuff. But yeah, and it doesn't make sense and it's silly to do that. Not just because it's silly and wrong, but because there's such a huge demographic and they're an important demographic and they're very passionate and everything that they like and the things and that they're interested in is equally valid, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think also it's very frustrating being in meetings when there's 2 women and 9 men and they are telling you what women want to watch or hear or what they will do and saying, it's like someone literally told me, you know, well, women are going to have to be home with their kids during COVID so they won't go to the movie theater. And I'm like, wait, what? I think for one, the romance and just female audience in general is very underestimated and underserved. There's barely any content for us in general. Everything is male centric. Like, you know, if you put a couple romances or a couple stories about women out there, we're dying for content. We want to see movies. We want to see people like us on a screen. It's very frustrating. This whole like women not existing yet, we're 80% of the market if they would allow us to. I'm very tired of not having content to watch as a woman, to be honest.
Hero, how do you balance sort of like playing the character you want to play versus like people's expectations of who they think Hardin is? Because everyone has their own vision in their mind.
Yeah. I think you have to try not to let it phase you and trust your director and trust the script. And try and be, you know, as true to the books as you can. But it is like you say, there's so many different interpretations from reading a book, and there's less left to imagination in a film. So it's you can't let it become a burden. You have to let it, and you can't let it be, you know, added pressure. You have to kind of like, you know, just take it and run with it, be confident. And the fans are nothing but supportive, so they make that pretty easy for us.
A totally different question, but like, what to you is the least sexy place? So like, you know, a hot tub, a shower, a beach. Like, is there a place
beach, for sure. The beach. I mean, sand. even just not sexy time thinking, every time I go to the beach, I'm like, why do I keep thinking I like the beach? I don't. I like the idea of the beach, but sexiness on the beach is like, you're going to have sand everywhere. There's going to be wind. It's probably going to be really cold. It's just not sexy, but people make it look sexy, but it's so not sexy.
That's a tough question.
There's a chain of chicken shops in London called Morley's. That isn't a very sexy place. The chicken's great, the food's great. I kind of grew up on it, but that's not a very sexy place if I'm thinking of unsexy places.
A funeral.
Good call.
That's a good one. I think that's a solid. I mean, yeah, it's a solid no.